Your website. They tell me there's upwards of 80, some markets 90% of consumers who are going to end up buying floor coverings spend a great deal of their time in that campaign to find what it is they're going to buy on the internet. And I think that that's number one, educating themselves. What do I want? What color? What does it look like? What's out there? And number two, where am I going to buy it once I decide what it is I want to, I want?
Sure.
A lot of people are going to be on a website, your website and others, and they're going to make a decision as to who they contact based on that. Is that something that you feel you're getting as much as you possibly could out of at this point in time?
Absolutely not. That's one of our weaknesses for sure. In fact, our last meeting today while we're in town is exactly that. That's exactly what we're discussing. And I think that's an ever-changing, moving target all the time. But I think, we need to do a much better job of having the content on the website that they're looking for. Not what we think they're looking for, what they're actually looking for.
Yeah.
But I think we do have a great, our partner in that is Bridgeway Interactive. They do a phenomenal job with us. I think our site's fantastic. It's our job to put the content in for our local market that makes more sense. But with the catalog of products that we have available to us and what the customer sees, it's a very legitimate, classy, and in my opinion, of course I'm biased, website that has what the customer wants. Many people have commented how simple it was to use. It wasn't a lot of clutter, it wasn't a lot of reading unless they wanted it. But if they want to go 60 pages deep into it, they can. It's got the bells and whistles, it's got the horsepower. It's the local content or the regional content we need to add to make that good. And then, because the cost of marketing, if you jumped into the bandwagon 3 years ago to buy pay-per-click advertising or other means of SEO and optimizing your sites, you were getting a value price because no one was doing it. Well, now everybody's doing it. So the costs of those keywords and those things have gone up. And as a result, you need to relook at that budget and determine, we're a small operator. We're not some massive player. But we need to make sure we use those dollars effectively and we're not just wasting them so we can say we're in that game. We need to find ways, whether it be socially or otherwise, to get content and action on our site. But like you and me, we legitimize probably just about most of the businesses we do business with over $5 purchases these days on the website. We legitimize who you are before I go buy from you. And it's a good time to kind of look at a company without being inundated from what you would expect to happen, which is a salesman standing over you, which we don't do. But at any rate, it takes that fuzz out of the equation and they can center in on who we are. And if they like what they see, then they contact us.
The consumer today, are they more inclined to have people in their home selling floor coverings than to go into a store?
Yes, in my opinion. Because 90% of our jobs are just that. And maybe we've got a niche. Maybe it's the niche people that are contacting us. They don't have the time or the inclination to go and sit.
But you say that on the website, hey, this is an in-home operation, pretty much, and they know that right off the bat.
It's clear. It says, 24/7 floors across the top, basically the products and what we do. And then would you like to call or hit the online request button to determine. And most people will call because they'd rather, before they give you their information, they want to talk to you. So I'm fine with that. I would like to see more online request forms, but the reality is how many of us want to fill those out? Yeah. It's until you're comfortable with me, you're not going to do that or with our people. But if you
Well, that's the other thing, I guess, building trust with somebody so they're not going to fleece me, I suppose, and who knows?
Especially if your average ticket's $3,000. Think about spending $3,000 on something. How much research do we do? And I think the answer at that price is a fair amount today. Yeah.
So what is your biggest concern now today as we sit here?
Probably not being able to grow enough people fast enough to service what I think is going to be a window of opportunity for the next 3 to 5 years as we come out of this recession that we were in and capitalize on the growth that the market's experiencing. But that's a secondary fear, really, because I think if we do things the way we are doing them now, and again, it's all, I just can't stress enough how this is really a function of our team, not any one person, especially me, that will be successful because we're building something that if tomorrow our business went to 60% of its volume, for whatever reason, we're going to be fine.
Well, When we first talked about this concept, which is low budget, low overhead kind of an operation, I sort of put this in the mom and pop category.
Yes.
And I guess part of that was because I'm aware of other mom and pops who have out of the way operations, and it's word of mouth kind of a thing. But, and that being few people on the payroll, but that doesn't sound like what you're doing.
Well, I came from a mom and pop operation. And my first venture in flooring was my mom and dad's store, which was a converted 5-car garage behind our house, our 2-family house in Connecticut. You know, literally a 5-car garage, 800 square feet, no bathroom. You know, one little bay door at the end where my father received the goods, even in the middle of January when it was 11 degrees outside. You know, so that we were a mom and pop. But I would call this a low overhead, high execution operation. You know, we may not pay a lot to execute, but in my opinion, we execute better than our competitors, by far.
But you're still in a position where you could add on people, and you're not afraid to add on people if you saw the opportunity and if you saw expansion in this direction or in that direction.
Correct, and I've got some youth coming into our organization right now, people much younger than me, who are strong and willing and excited about the progress, and they see an opportunity. I just had a meeting last Saturday with another gentleman who's relocating to this market and is going to be working with us 3 months from now. And again, young, energetic, in the business, lots of experience, but he sees something that is really beneficial, not only to himself, but to the consumer and to the way we do business today. And he, you know, it was almost like a light bulb went off in his head when we explained the process to him, and he went, I want in. You know, and so when you have that kind of an aha moment, my job now is to make sure I give that person and everybody the challenge to be as successful as possible, because it doesn't grow without them.
So we're talking a year from today. What likely are you going to be telling me in terms of your growth and what you're doing and what what growth you've enjoyed and so on?
Well, with any luck, because it takes a little bit of luck too. I gotta, I think we're going to be saying we've got 5 markets covered, 4 or 5 markets well covered. We're going to be talking about what our next plans are for either an additional or a new distribution center to cover those markets. I think we're going to be talking about how we've overcome challenges with our digital platform, which is what we're working on next. And hopefully I'm going to be making a plea on your show here to tell people in my market to come and talk to us so that we can see if that's something that fits them. Because honestly, I think once we get to the next level with this, David, we're going to be able to go a little bit faster. I'm very guarded and very conservative. Anybody who knows me in the industry, who's ever worked with me, knows that about me. But I see the potential here, and we're willing to put our time and money behind it to make it successful. So
you're a heck of a success story. Thanks for spending some time with us, Scott.
I always appreciate your time, David. You're one of my best friends.
We've been talking with Scott Perron. He is the owner of 24/7 Floors out of Sarasota, Florida. This is Talk Floor TV.